3. What was the clicks on
Fuck. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
We run a very serious show here. Welcome to the Weekly Rot. And to kick off this week's episode of the Weekly Rot, we have a major news story. All the mainstream news outlets are obsessing about this story. It's a massive story, a true revelation, flabbergasting. In fact, Joe Biden has cancer. Yeah, he has prostate cancer. Now. Yes, the 90-year-old man has cancer. What a fucking shock. Can I ask who cared? Like, what does it matter? I'm not trying to be rude here, but like, yeah, okay, he's irrelevant now. Poor Joe. You got Joe Biden still parading this guy around like he's a goddamn donkey at the circus. Oh, and by the way, we all knew he had cancer back in 2022. Remember this clip?
My mother drove us, and rather than us be able to walk. And guess what? The first frost, you know what was happening? You had to put on their windshield wipers to get literally the oil slick off the window. That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer. That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer.
Well, there you have it. I mean, he literally says in a speech, by accident, God, I miss the day of Joe Biden's mumbling, bumbling speeches. That guy really had the suitcase with the nuclear code, Tommy. Do you know that? Like, that dude could have pressed the button. Anyways, but congratulations, we have a brand new segment now on the show. It's called Distraction of the Week. Joe Biden's cancer. Bravo. Bravo, Joe. Stay classy. Well, folks, here we are. It's 2025, and we have U.S. intelligence agencies claiming that Iran has weapons of mass destruction. Ow. Ow. I think I cut my head. Is anyone else getting deja vu? I feel like I've seen this one before.
I take the threat very seriously. I take the fact that he develops weapons of mass destruction very seriously.
There are known knowns. There are things we know that we know. There are known unknowns. That is to say, there are things that we now know we don't know.
They just changed the Q for an N, I guess. Whatever. Like it matters anymore. I mean, I do remember Trump saying he was going to stop all the wars. Do you remember that one? Trump supporters, you remember when he said that? And you guys were like, Trump will stop the war in Ukraine. He'll stop the war in Gaza. That was a cool idea. Just like Zuckerberg was going to stop censorship on Instagram, right? Honestly, shame on me for believing anything these fucking goddamn reptiles say.
Fool me once. Shame on you. It fooled me, we can't get fooled again.
In fact, if we're being frank, I believe there's actually more war on Earth today than there was before Trump took office. I'm not saying that's his fault. I'm just stating the facts here, folks. Question on my mind, and the question that should be going through your mind is, will the government use these accusations of WMDs to justify military action in the Middle East? Before you answer, you maybe want to look at what came out of Israel on Tuesday of this week. Israel, according to inside sources in intelligence, is planning a massive strike on Iranian nuclear facilities. I mean, that's concerning on many levels. Obviously, if there's nuclear fallout, you know, that's not That's not a great situation. Unless you want to just get right into the video game world and live in a bunker and shoot zombies in the head. That actually, okay, you know what? That actually sounds kind of dope. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's time for that. Just a sec. I look like I have radiation poisoning right now.
I'll get you.
Jack, come here. That's a good shot. But yes, you have the government of Israel. You know these guys. They're the government that's super reasonable. Always taking innocent human life into account and would never commit the atrocities against another people that their own people, the Israelis, have suffered, have been subject to over the years, over the last centuries, right? The Israeli government would never commit genocide, guys. They just wouldn't do it. Because they understand history and hypocrisy and empathy. And as victims, I would hope that the Israelis understand what it means to suffer, right? They don't. Wait, no, I guess they forgot about that stuff. I don't know exactly. Well, they haven't forgot about it because they're quick to remind us about it. Tommy, how do I talk my way out of this one? Anyways, this is like the fourth time in the last year that Israel has talked about bombing Iran's nuclear facilities. Something tells me they're just going to do it anyways. Even, Trump was able to talk them off the ledge just a month ago. I will give Trump credit for doing that. However, I do not think he will be able to keep the rabid dog from biting much longer. To close out this headline segment, I'd just like to implore all of us to take note of how a lot of these things seem to be reoccurring. They're happening again. It's like, oh, that seems familiar from 30 years ago. It's not the first time they've happened, and it's not going to be the last time they happen. And until we learn from our mistakes, we will never break the cycle of history. Who am I fucking kidding? We're cooked. We're definitely going to war. Whatever. I'll see you in the trenches, boys. Where are we deploying? Now look. Before y'all get in the comment section all upset, I would never imply that America and the Trump administration are just little puppets for the Israeli government and Mossad and the CIA to move around as they please. But I will say Trump is creating a plan to move 1 million Palestinians to Libya, according to sources within the White House. I mean, yeah, that seems fair. I mean, it's all those pesky children that keep getting in the way of all them Israeli bombs. Like if they just weren't there anymore, there'd be no issue. Come on now. And they could also build the Ben Gurion Canal. Do you guys know about the Ben Gurion Canal? I don't even feel comfortable talking about it anymore, frankly. Yeah, I love you, YouTube, by the way, and I love censorship as well. Meanwhile, you have Europe and Canada reacting to Israel very strong-handedly, with both entities announcing sanctions upon the Israeli government in a plea to get them to stop their relentless bombing of the citizens of Gaza. Here's the thing, I just don't fucking buy it anymore, folks. I just don't buy it. I feel like this is just a ploy. They want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to appear like we're upset with Israel, right? They want us to appear like we want Israel to stop what they're doing. But in the end, this war machine, I just don't think it can stop. It can't be stopped. When the wheels get on turning on this baby, let's go. It's been cranked up so high, I don't believe there's any stopping it. I would say this is a prediction. Get ready for some sort of massive casualty event involving Iran, and you will see, likely from that, a catalyst for further war in the Middle East. Israel will be attacking Iran in the coming months. We've seen it before. Again, history is repeating itself. Like from when the Bush administration switched from Afghanistan to Iraq. One night, one day it was Afghanistan was the enemy. The next day it was Iraq's the enemy. George Orwell literally warned us about this shit. And instead of heeding his warning, we just allowed governments around the world to use 1984 as a blueprint for how to run a country. Good job, guys. Anyways, I guess that's a good time to cut to our sponsors of the week. Hey, Tommy. Hey, it's Native Path, the new sponsor. Hey, thank you, Native Path, for supporting the channel. Thank you for taking a chance on us. I just had my first protein shake with my complimentary shaker cup that comes with your first order, which you're gonna get 41% off if you use the link in bio. My promo is running hot right now. What are you waiting for? This stuff leaves your gut feeling fine. It leaves you energetic and all natural, baby. 365-day guaranteed money back. If it's not for you, it will be for you though. I promise you. I've dabbled in many protein powders. This is the good stuff. Yeah, free shaker cup, 41% off. Free shipping in the US of A. Get on over to the link in bio. Support a company that's down for raw, uncut news. Thank you, Native Path. Did you guys hear about the super volcano under the ocean just off the coast of Oregon? It's Oregon, by the way. Never say Oregon. I learned that the hard way. Yeah, scientists are warning that it might erupt any day now due to concerning seismic activity picked up along the ocean floor. And at this point, all I have to say is, can you hurry up and erupt already? I am sick of this and I don't want to pay my taxes this year. Hey, did you know that a UFO slammed into an F-16 fighter jet this week? Yes. Military reports are coming out saying an unidentified object slammed into the canopy of an F-16 fighter jet and cracked it, forcing the pilot to land the $61 million plane. Nothing to see here. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's not, one of the many thousands of drone sightings people have reported, but we were told not to worry about that, so I'm not going to worry about it. Boom. And did you hear about the Chinese kill switches found in solar farms across the US of A? Good thing solar energy doesn't really produce much power, though. It doesn't matter. Do you remember the blue rain in Texas a week ago? Do you guys remember that? Well, we got blue ducks in Brazil now. What the fuck is going on? Maybe it's like a promotional gag for the Blue Man Group. Blue Man Group's coming back. Maybe it's Blue Mountain, or it could be Blue Mountain Dew. Talk to Maverick. Anyways, the ducks are fucking blue. They're saying they spilled blue dye into a stream. I just find it kind of coincidental that the week after the U.S. reports Arizona, California, and Texas having blue rain, now you got blue ducks in Brazil. But hey, what do I know? I just read Reddit. And did you hear about the leg that was found outside of Taylor Swift's home? Yes, there was an amputated leg found along the beach just outside of Taylor Swift's New England property. And I found I'm gonna get you to run this clip, Tiny. Just listen to what this woman says when reporting the story.
Well, have you seen this? A shocking discovery in an upscale Rhode Island neighborhood. Police finding human remains on the beach near pop star Taylor Swift's beachfront home. Police say they suspect no foul play after transferring the human leg bone to the medical examiner, as fears grow of a potential New England serial killer. Yikes. John?
All right, well,
No foul play suspected, and yet concerns of a serial killer in New England. That doesn't make sense. I think what they're trying to say, and what is abundantly clear to me, is this: Taylor Swift is a serial killer. Moving on. Oh, and did you hear that Kash Patel and the FBI have assured the public that Epstein definitely did that thing to himself? Just like JFK's head just did that. There was no assassin. His head just did that, guys. Where are the files? I'm so sick of this. Like, I can't even read the joke because it's just so frustrating to me, folks. But yeah, Cash Patel says Epstein definitely unalived himself. There's no proof otherwise. That's adorable. Like, what about all the security cameras that shut off? Cash? Did that just happen out of nowhere? You know what? Let's do another take of that. Let me reword that. This is how I'm gonna do it. Take it from the. You'll figure it out. Make it look good, Tommy.
Do it.
Do it. So yes, Cash Patel has assured all of us that Jeffrey Epstein definitely unalived himself, and there's no evidence that would suggest otherwise. And all I have to say to that is, ow. And lastly, we have reports that Richmond Hill Golf Course is now fully booked, given that the Leafs have made their ceremonious exit from the playoffs early in round 2, getting absolutely walloped by the Florida Panthers. Austin Matthews, eat a bag of dicks. Is there anything else? I've got Canada genociding ostriches, and I've got Miss Scotland bites 2 security guards and called one the N-word. And when she was kicked out of a rugby competition. You think she's single? And now a segment I like to refer to as getting caught in a conversation with a homeless man on the subway of New York City. It's the rant segment. How fucking unhinged do I look? Yes. I am hypercritical of governments. I think that's been well established at this point. But while I hold governments accountable, I think it's important that I stress the fact that I have nothing but the utmost respect for soldiers and veterans and all the individuals who were brave enough to sign up to serve their country. It's not their fault that their country makes them do terrible things and leaves them out to dry when they're done doing those terrible things. I will never criticize a soldier for following an order that the government forced them into doing. I will, however, criticize the system for asking the soldier to do the unjust actions. That's just the way I operate, folks. My grandfather was a member of the Devil's Brigade, basically the real-life Inglourious Bastards. He was infinitely more badass than I can ever hope to be. So having said all of that, I found out some information over the last week that legit makes me ashamed to be Canadian. And wouldn't you know it, Mark Carney and his old company Brookfield are at the heart of it, folks. We literally put a man in power who worked for one of the most evil fucking companies in the world. This guy, I mean, liberals are so fucking lost. They've just lost the plot. In what world would a liberal support a guy that works for a wealth investment firm? Anyways, let's just talk about what Brookfield did to Canada's soldiers. Okay, let's talk about it. Basically, you've got private military quarters. These are houses you can rent as a soldier on base for, it used to be very cheap. Back in the early 2000s, it was around $400, $500. You get a full house. If you're a soldier with a family, it was an amazing way for the family to be able to survive while the soldier was deployed or otherwise, right? But in 2008, the government of Canada, and that's Harper, by the way, Mike, that was Harper that did this. So don't come in here saying, oh, it's the liberals. No, it's all sides are complicit. Harper's government sold Brookfield the PMQs, the private military quarters, and Brookfield went ahead and raised the rent by 500% for our soldiers, our veterans. The company that Mark Carney has an intricate knowledge of and works with on the board of directors, like, does anyone even care about this shit? Like, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to get it through your heads. The system is rigged. They have us fighting with each other while they allow companies like Brookfield to rape and pillage our fucking bravest, our soldiers, the people we're supposed to be looking out for. And you got conservative fingerprints on this, and you got liberal fingerprints on this. You guys should be fucking ashamed of yourselves. And there's another thing. There's another thing I found out. This next one's like trigger warning, I guess. If you have PTSD. No, you know what? You gotta listen if you have PTSD, because I'm actually talking to you. I have heard fucking shocking and disturbing reports from veterans that they will call Veterans Affairs to ask for, an allowance for clothes, for instance, or something that they're entitled to. They're entitled to it. They're not asking for a handout. This was part of the agreement when they signed up to serve our country. And do you know what the scum-sucking parasitic bureaucrats are suggesting to the veterans? You know what they're saying, Mike? Unalive yourself. MAID. Sign up for the MAID program. That's what they're telling our veterans to do. Rather than provide them with the benefits that they were promised, we have bureaucrats in Ottawa telling our soldiers to unalive themselves. If I ever meet one of you fucking bureaucrats, I'm gonna shake your hand. Definitely not gonna assault you physically. Just end the segment, Tom. I'm fucking pissed. Alrighty, folks. Here we are with our exclusive guest of the week. We got Miss Ariana Masters joining us over from Instagram. She is a content creator superstar. Ariana, how are you today?
Doing well, thank you, John. How are you doing?
Good. I just shaved my head on. I had a Britney moment on live television here, and I shaved my hair off. So I feel good. I feel streamlined.
Were you crying or laughing hysterically?
I was yelling and ranting, so I'm not sure. Somewhere in the middle of crying and laughing.
Didn't Alex Jones do that recently, where he was pretending to cry while they shaved his head? I can't remember.
Did he really? Because if he did, he stole that bit from me. I'm just gonna say it, Alex Jones. I'm coming for you. So Ariana, you are a member of what I would like to call a growing community of independent content creators, but more than content creators, we are the ones that are stupid enough to talk about news and political events in the world. How did that start? I'm just curious.
Okay, so about 9 months ago, I really just wanted to get back into news. I'd always been involved in news in the past. My family's involved in news, and I'd worked for the company on and off, yournews.com, and but then I went to college and I got a little distracted. I was working for the college newspaper, and then I really wanted to move up to the LA Times, but the amount of bias at the LA Times is pretty substantial. I did a little bit of work for the Santa Monica Daily Press, but ultimately I ended up going a completely different direction for a few years, and I started working for a superfoods company doing formula development, and but then I was just seeing everything happen around me, and I had spent a couple years being very weary of getting into this industry, because if I was gonna do it, I was not going to lie. I wasn't going to try to make it to the big leagues by keeping my head down. And a lot of people have died doing what you and I are doing.
I think more journalists have been assassinated in the last year than in a long time. But I think this is a good point for me to point out. My producer's giving me the gesture. I'm not a journalist, folks. I'm just a content creator. But it is a dicey situation. Have you had a scary moment reporting news? Have you had any creepy messages sent to you from a Fed?
Well, I'll get to that. Yeah. I'll totally get to that. So about 9 months ago, I was seeing the political climate, and I realized that we 100% I needed to do something. I needed to help somehow, because things were and still are headed in a direction that's extraordinarily terrifying to me. And, I'm an anthropologist. That's my degree. I think I every one of us owes it to humanity to do our best for the future of humanity. And
Here.
For me, I thought the way that I could help is by finding a way to spread what I believe to be the truth in a way that couldn't be censored easily and would be somewhat entertaining, especially with the geoengineering stuff. Thankfully, I've been able to do that well. But because censorship on social media, especially up until recently, it's let off a little bit. I've noticed a dramatic shift. It's still there, but it's not nearly as prevalent. But in the past, it was so brutal that accounts were constantly closed. Videos were covered in a blur saying, "Are you sure you want to see this?" I mean, things were removed all the time. So what I did is I started making videos with I decided I was going to start on Monday, the Monday after the assassination attempt. So I'm like, that's the day I'm going to start. But then the assassination attempt
that's when you started? Okay.
And then the assassination attempt started on a Saturday, and I started that day. My first video I put up that day reporting that the assassination. It was 3 minutes after he had been shot, and I posted it on Facebook. Facebook kicked me off for 3 days, shut my account down for
Yes, of course.
And so I started my censorship cards. These are all the words you cannot say on social media, but I hold up my little cards. Anyway, that's how I got started, and thankfully things have gone super well. I've been a little stagnating. I've stagnated a little bit over the last couple months because I got COVID, and the aftermath of that was not fun. And then I got sick again, and I've slowed down. For some reason, looking at a monitor was really hard for me. I got so much eye strain, so I backed off a lot over the last couple months. But anyway, I'm back to it.
It's good for your mental health to take the odd break, Ariana. I just want to interject there.
For sure.
Say that. Yeah, you gotta.
And you asked me if there were any scary moments. By the way, if we're talking over each other, it's just there is a delay. So I'm not trying to be rude.
You're good.
So I only had one. Honestly, I only had one, and it was when I first started. I got a pretty significant death threat email message to me, and but since then I haven't really seen anything. Most people are really, really nice. I mean, most of my comments are really sweet, and most of my messages are really sweet.
Yeah.
And I'm really lucky, honestly. I am.
Yeah,
but
I've been through your comment section, and it's way nicer than mine. I would like to maybe you can send some of your nice fans over to the page after you do this interview, Ariana. So I love what you said about the censorship thing and the shift. Now I would say we've talked many times before, Miss Masters, and I am much more of a pessimist than you are. Just look at me, for Christ's sakes. But I mean, I think they've just shifted the censorship. Zuckerberg came out there when he came out right before the election, right? And he said, "Oh yeah, censorship. We're gonna stop censoring. No more fact checking." That was a complete lie. What they did do is they've shifted it so you can talk about things like schmovid and health and stuff now more. But if you talk about a certain country, nah. Yeah. So that's the new thing. So
they're definitely still censored.
Yeah, it's frustrating. What do you think about, is freedom of speech a dying commodity in today's world, Ariana?
I think humans are always going to strive for freedom of speech, regardless of what country they live in. I think the difference lies in how aware you are of the actual political climate you live in. So many people are unaware that their speech is being limited. Right. It's only the people who are really trying to use it to the maximum to speak against, to have dissenting voices, where they're limited. So I don't know. I mean, it's a pretty wordy answer, but I do think that freedom of speech is 100% under fire because censorship is their greatest weapon. It's their greatest weapon because their number one threat is communication between civilians. I mean,
it's me and you. It's me and you.
Yes, if we have conversations, we're starting to make plans. We're starting to justify our thoughts. We're not being convinced by the media that, oh, what we're thinking is unique and, oh, it's opposed to the majority. But when we start communicating, we realize, no, that's actually not the majority. That's the lie. We are the majority. We can change this, and that is terrifying. So yeah, I mean, freedom of speech has historically, and you know this, has been the number one thing that they need to destroy. So yes, it will be under fire forever till the end of everything. It will always be under fire, and right now we're feeling it very intensely. And what's great is the pandemic, I think, really did backfire with regard to that, because I think people are questioning everything.
I said that literally 2 weeks ago, talking to Mr. Maverick Bailey. So yeah, we're on the same page there. I like that is one kind of positive I take out of that whole 2020 to 2023 situation that happened. It's that it did seem to awaken a lot of people, right? But at the end of the day, sorry, go ahead, Ariana.
No, I mean, I didn't mean. I was going to say, do you think that they already knew that was coming? That they accounted for that? That despite the awakening, what they had done was still worth it?
I think at the end of the day, it started off as a very serious virus, which was definitely created in a lab and genetically modified. I mean, this has been all but proven. Now, which lab, it's up for debate. I think it was probably a collaborative effort worldwide. You got some very interesting facts about Fort Detrick. The fact that it was shut down by the CDC in the spring of 2019, very interesting. But who am I to say, right? At the end of the day, you had this virus, and then what happened from that, I believe the powers that be, the governments around the world, decided to start using that as a way to experiment with some new forms of control and propaganda. And I think they found that some people were very receptive to it. You had people that were very keen to turn their neighbors in for having their grandmother over for Thanksgiving dinner, for instance, crazy shit like that. And then you had a lot of people, and I think as the years are going on, more and more people are joining, the rest of us who thought that, hey, this seems like this stinks. This whole thing stinks, for lack of a better word. What do you think? What do you think about the fact that nowadays, so when they say, doing your own research is dangerous, basically they're saying that reading is dangerous. Can you believe that we are in a world now where our government discourages us to read?
Yeah, I believe that. I mean, I just like you, I can't believe it, but I also can believe it. Man, I didn't say, are you referring to a specific, are you talking about just the general climate of encouragement or discouragement from doing your own research? Or are you talking about something very recent that someone said that I may have missed out on?
No, just in general, how, the media now likes to try and say, hey, trust the science blindly like it's a frickin' religion, and don't do your own research. Don't you dare pull up any fucking files on that topic, because you don't have the brain power to understand it. Ariana?
Well, the funny part is when they're saying trust the science, well, I cover a lot of the science that's coming out, and a lot of this science is proving what the media said is wrong. I mean, we have a ridiculous amount of data that people. Okay, this is what I think. I think they're rushing to cover up as much as they possibly can, because I think now people can actually do something about it. When I'm talking specifically about the COVID, because there's been a whole cover up of that. Unfortunately, 80% of the population, the global population, actually 70% of the global population got the 80% of the United States got the and a lot of people were very much people were pretty much forced into it, you know? I mean, we saw a lot of the evidence of that they tried to make it as difficult as possible to not get it, and they scared people into not getting it, right? So anyway, there's a lot of data coming out about the damage it's doing to the DNA, to this self-replicating spike protein, to all these things that unfortunately are a cascade of events that are just going to get people need to stop the damage now. People need to start taking supplements like bromelain. People need to look into glutathione and taking lumbrokinase or nattokinase. People need to really look into reversing the effects now to save humanity. Because as an anthropologist, I can't help but look at what's going to happen to humanity over the next 20 to 50 years. We're seeing infertility skyrocket. We're seeing people are just dying. And I don't mean this as fear-mongering.
Yep.
I don't mean this as fear-mongering. I just mean people can prevent this right now. And if they don't start taking steps to fixing it, it's going to be very hard to reverse if you wait 5 to 10 years. And so I think they're trying to hide as much information as humanly possible now, because now is the time people can reverse the damage and save themselves and save humanity. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that we're having all of this information.
And you have, of course, super turbo cancer rates skyrocketing, specifically, Ariana, in youth, which is obviously highly concerning. Now, I found it kind of interesting because the World Health Organization, the good guys, they just put out a study where they are saying it's pretty definitive that our cell phones, these things, are giving us cancer now. And I've noticed a few studies coming out saying, oh, this is giving you cancer, this is giving you cancer. And I'm wondering, is that really the thing giving us cancer? Now, this is such a dangerous conversation to have on YouTube, Ariana. I'm just going to cut it off right here. And we're just going to have a terribly clunky segue right into geoengineering. Are you looking for your tinfoil hat?
Looking for my EMF meter, and I was going to show you something cool.
You have an EMF meter? All right. Guys, we're putting our hats on. Let's go. All right, so
we have a selection. We have the direct energy weapon safe aluminum foil hat. We have the standard. But we also have my Santa hat aluminum foil hat. So, but that's probably better for Christmas time.
Yeah, that's. I mean, you got to sell those things. That's great.
I look like the guy from that. What's that? What was that movie with the kid? The
Will Ferrell. You look like the Zoolander villain. Guys, we take things very serious over here, me and Ariana. So, Ariana, let's jump into it, right? You have yet another thing in which I begrudgingly have to admit Alex Jones tried to warn us about. And it does appear that he's right. Now, there's so many fucking ways we could go with this. So I'm gonna kick you off with this. You have the blue rain falling from the sky in Texas last week.
Okay.
And yeah. Hit me with it.
Okay, so I mean, a good segue from the EMF to this is, well, this is radiation, but so are NEXRAD radar stations, and that's microwave radiation. Okay.
Yes.
So, as you might know, I do a radar show literally every day, and I cover the NEXRAD towers and then the trails. I do the trails, globally, if you believe it's a globe. I've had flat earthers attack me for saying the word globe. But anyway, but I don't even, what do you call it? Earth?
The simulation. Yeah, whatever.
Well, I mean, you could be right for all I know. I don't even know. All across the Matrix, we've seen trails. But anyway, so I cover all that, and I've been doing it, and I want to do it. I'm going to be doing it for years, but I want to do it for one solid year, because everyone's saying, "Oh, it's the seasons are changing." All right, sorry, I'm getting confusing. All right, so. NEXRAD towers, and I'll have to send you a link or show you a video or something. NEXRAD towers are all over the United States. We have more Doppler towers in the US than really anywhere else in the world. And
are those, sorry to jump in, are those the repeaters? Like what is that tower's function? Like why they put it there?
Your Canadianness, just when it comes out, it shocks me every time with the sorry. Anyway, I think you were, okay, the repeaters. Okay, so the official statement is that these NEXRAD towers are simply Doppler radar. They're there to track storms, give us qualities about storms, help us with forecasts. The conspiracy theory is that these towers are capable of far more than Doppler, that they are also capable of manipulating weather in various different ways, and possibly even capable of being direct energy weapons, capable of igniting fires. Now, they work supposedly in conjunction with HARP, which is stationed in Alaska, though I think they've got more going on, but HARP is not capable of doing targeted manipulation. The theory is that these localized NEXRAD towers stationed all over the United States and other countries as well, but mostly in the US, that uses it as, like you said, it's more of like a piggybacking of the signal to do a more customizable manipulation of the area. So now these towers can do numerous things, one of which is they do emit microwave radiation. So theoretically, and there's a lot of evidence to back this up, they can heat up an area by microwaving the atmosphere. The heat generated by these towers is enough to manipulate the weather in and of itself, even if those towers couldn't do anything else but that. For instance, when you heat up an area, you're essentially creating a high pressure zone. And when there are low pressure systems, whether they're naturally occurring or artificially created, you can use these high pressure zones, strategically place them anywhere you want to, and steer the low pressure system in any direction, or even stall it out in one area. And also, when you create excessive heat in one area, where like this area is super hot, this area is not, that's going to create excessive wind. And we've had severe winds all over this country. I mean, in Texas, they had a critical warning. This is around the time of the blue rain. They had critical warning, stay away from windows. There was no tornado. It was just the wind. And by the way, Texas, out of every state that I see, has by far the most activity from NEXRAD than anywhere else. I mean, Hawaii has, then I can't see Hawaii actually. Hawaii just has the least amount of trails. But no, Texas has been lit up. I don't know what's going on over there. And also California for the last couple of weeks has been glowing a lot more than I've ever seen it before. But yeah, anyway, so these towers, now when you see these, and there's a few different things that I see with these towers that are unusual. Number one is what I call rippled radar. It looks like radar, but it's got a ripple. It's like a wave. Now, the official statement is, oh, those are glitches. Oh, no, those are reflections off of birds and insects. But the thing is, I only see them before crazy events. Every time. The first time I saw it was an enormous spiral over the Carolinas. And that was just before the fires were ignited. And they went, and you know, the fires in North Carolina were super famous. They were terrible. It was the worst in their history. And then they kind of started to die down. Then the rippled radar came back, and we saw the same fires ignite in the same areas again.
Brutal.
And for the last couple of months, we've been seeing this trail of storms. I probably should do this if this is a mirror image. Trail of storms going from Texas up to New England, or up to central, U.S., northern, the middle, whatever, and up in the middle of the country. And these storms have been consistently surrounded by this rippled radar. And we're seeing it before all of these tornadoes. When I see this radar, the red portion of the storm, which indicates the more severe area of the storm, grows instantly. Every time we've had these tornadoes come through the middle of the country, These storms have been surrounded by this rippled radar. Here's another thing that's going on with the towers. Something that I don't know what's going on. It's been excessive for 3 or 4 weeks. There is, when you look at the Nextrad towers, and I'll show you this, at night, they're more sensitive because it's dark and there's typically less stuff happening in the atmosphere at that time. The towers get more sensitive. They can show more light on the radar map. So at night, you do expect to see somewhat of a glow. But when you see a storm going over a tower, it's usually like green indicates rain, and then yellow and red are just more severe layers of that. But what's happening now are these towers, which would normally glow a slight blue or like a dark blue with maybe a hint of green at the center, which is like the most powerful portion. Now, it's an enormous amount of green emanating from these towers, and they're doing it in segments. First time I saw it was in Texas and like the southeastern portion of the US, maybe 3 weeks ago. Then I saw it covering all the way up to New England. Then they ran it in the center of the US. And what's funny is, I don't know if you remember, but there was something called an omega block. And I don't know if you saw this, it was right in the middle of the country. And so what was happening is there was a system that was kind of swooping like this, and it looked like boobs, and it was hilarious. And they were low pressure systems around this high pressure system. They said, oh, it's unusual. It's an omega block because it's in the shape of an omega, but really it's just not. It's in the shape of boobs. But and right in the middle. So
yeah.
Yes, boobs. And the high pressure zone that they were referring to was directly over where the towers were emitting so much more than we've seen before. And this was creating so many terrible systems. And then we started to see it go all over the entire east, the middle of the country, and up into California. In the last 3 days, it's died down, except for southeastern Texas. They've never gotten a break. People are commenting on my videos. I'm asking them, how are you feeling? People are saying they're going to the hospital. They're passing out. They have vertigo. They have constant migraines. People are saying they've never had this before. I mean, go seriously, check out my video with the radar showing what's going on in Texas. And you look through the comments and you'll see there's an enormous amount, at least hundreds and hundreds of people saying the same thing. Not only that, what's interesting is they're telling me they can hear it. They're saying they don't know each other. I'm seeing this randomly, 1,000, every maybe couple hundred comments. They'll say, I'm hearing a tone. I can hear it. And
they can hear the frequency, the radio wave.
Yeah, some people I do believe can hear it because I'm getting this from people that do not know each other, and they're separated by comments and comments. They don't know other people are saying this. So there's something going on with that. Now, this is the confusing part. I sent a screenshot of this to ChatGPT to help me analyze it, and it said, "You're right. There's something." I didn't say it was. I didn't give it any context prior. It said that this is unusual. This is indicating that it's raining everywhere, but this doesn't look like rain, and there is no rain. It's saying either one of two things is happening, or both. One is they're turning up the radiation. They're turning up the signal from the towers, which is why we're seeing so much energy coming out. Or two, they changed the ingredients in the trails. And what's interesting is on the trails satellite, I am seeing a difference in the clouds. I'm starting to see a smoky black, it looks like smoky black trails are coming out of the origin trails. And I'm actually starting to see it over my head now. It looks like white, smoky, puffy clouds. So I do think they changed the ingredients in the trails. And what's interesting is when this was all happening and I was starting to see, oh, you know what? I think they're putting something else in the aerosol. Well, then we started to see in California, they had blue rain. Then a week later in Texas, they reported blue rain. I think whenever we see hiccups like that, it's because they've changed something and they're experimenting with it, and we're seeing errors while they're making the switch. So
well,
that's what I think about.
You've got the blue ducks down in Brazil this past week now, too. They're saying they spilt a bunch of blue dye into a stream or something, but it was literally 1 week after the blue rain in Texas, which I found, it's hard for me to believe in coincidences anymore, Ariana. So let me ask you this. So it seems very obvious they are doing something to the ionosphere, manipulating it with radio waves. And as you said before, I mean, people need to realize this. You can take a little section of the ionosphere, for instance, in Alaska, heat that portion up and have an effect in Russia. Yep. Like these things do move exponentially from the starting point. So my question to you, Ariana, is why? Is there a chance? Let me just say this. Is there a chance they're trying to like protect us from something? Could the chemtrails we see in the sky creating these weird looking clouds? And I think most people agree. You know, you talk to anyone, you know, who grew up through the 90s, and you go, do these clouds look like they used to? And everyone I talk to says, no, they don't. They don't look normal like the clouds we had when we were kids. But what if they're trying to protect us from like solar flares or something? Is that possible? Why are they doing these things, Ariana? Why
so number one, I don't know. And I can't answer that question. I don't know. Part of me really hopes that maybe they are trying to protect us from something. But that if they were protecting us from something, the only reason they would hide it is because it's also dangerous. So I'm thinking if they are doing something to help humanity as a whole, and they were hiding it, it would be because whatever they're spraying, they know is going to kill a vast portion of the population. Which, you know, coming from an anthropological standpoint, no matter how toxic of an environment you give to someone or give to a population, there will always be survivors. Those survivors survive because they have genetic mutations, and their genetic mutations at that point will allow them to be the most successful of the population and then procreate and spread their genes. And then the next, you know, over time, the bottleneck of big population shrinks down will become it's like an hourglass. We'll populate the earth. So everyone can adapt, you know, given that you have a decent amount of time. You know, they're doing everything very quickly, but that's the only instance in which I could possibly fathom that what they're doing is actually beneficial to humanity. It's to hide the fact that actually it's going to kill a lot of people. It's extraordinarily dangerous. I do think that whatever this is an international. Not everyone. I've been watching trails in every country around the world every single day. I've never seen a trail over Africa. I have never seen trails in southern Mexico or all of South America. I have never seen trails in Western China. I have never seen trails in North Korea. I've never seen I very rarely have seen trails in Australia. Very rarely around the cyclones, I might add.
Interesting.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't know about the next threat activity globally because the countries, U.S. is very forthright about their radar. Other countries, a lot of the times, they don't have a link to see what they're doing. So I don't really know. I'm sure Europe is loaded. Europe gets a ridiculous amount of trails every day. But nobody on Earth gets anything like what we get here in the U.S. I see every single day dark defined high altitude trails. No other country has that. Not even close. Not even close.
Where can people go to watch your daily show where you check out these trails, Miss Masters?
Come to ArianaMasters.com, and I run the Uncensored Daily Radar Show. And you can also follow me on Instagram. Whenever I see something really catastrophic, I will share it on Instagram for sure. And I have to be really careful how I do it, of course, because, you know, that stuff is still heavily censored on social media.
Certainly is. I love your method. My producer here tells me all the time I should be using your little cue cards. So we might have to steal that from you. Moving forward, maybe we can get a weekly weather segment from you wearing the tinfoil hat. I'll talk to you offline about that, but that could be really fun, actually. You could show us the bullshit trails you've seen that week or whatever is popping on that specific week. Ariana, thank you for joining us tonight. One of the most fastest growing accounts on Instagram. You're at over 200,000. 200,000 now, I believe. So that is wild. I didn't realize you didn't start. You only started when the Trump assassination attempt happened. So that's unbelievable.
I would have been a lot bigger if I hadn't gotten sick 2 months ago. I'm a little upset about the stagnation, but I got to get back to posting 3. For any other content creator, the recipe is 3 videos a day, respond to comments, respond to messages, and don't ever take a day off ever in your life, and you'll be good.
And don't say the no-no words. And don't say the no-no words. You got to be careful about the no-no words. Yeah. Ariana, thank you again. And you have yourself an amazing day. Keep an eye on the skies for us and let us know what they're up to,
100%. Absolutely. Oh, and I'm in a documentary called Climate Trails that's coming out soon. They're the next geoengineering documentary. They interviewed people who banned it in Tennessee and Florida, all that stuff. So you'll see that coming out soon.
Amazing. Okay, we'll talk soon, Ariana.
Okay, bye.
Well, that's another week in the books, folks. Thanks for joining us here at the Weekly Rot. Still just can't get over how despicable Brookfield and Mark Carney are, but whatever. I think I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this is not news. We are not journalists. I didn't go to journalism school. In fact, I was rejected. We barely went to regular school. Everything you just saw was satire, parody, a fever dream. If anything we said sounds real, God damn it, that's on you. Viewer discretion is advised. And if you're thinking of suing us, call your mom first.